Welcome, Richard, to your second appearance on the TEXO podcast channel. We must have spoken about a year ago. What are the biggest changes over that year let's just start with TEXO, in your own words,
Growth.
as a company.
Growth is the first word that springs to mind. Unbelievable growth, which is a result of, I guess, all the hard work and effort that's been put in across all areas over the previous years. We've always been anxious about workload, forward workload, and just longevity in total, so we can make further commitments to the staff and the growth of the staff and just the business in full. But if you look at the sort of the client list as to where we were and where we are now, there's not many around that would have been created the amount of growth that we have in such a short period of time.
What have been the growing pains in that period? And then I want to come back to you. We talked about TEXO as a whole. I want to talk about your division and how it's grown. But where's the growing pains been, do you feel, in the main company?
People. It's such a difficult commodity to get. You have a small team and a team that work kind of hand in glove. It's almost like poetry in motion, but inevitably that's not sustainable with what the business needs or where it goes or to satisfy the clients that come on board. So you have to have growth. And it's finding the right people with the right attitude and not only with the ability to do their job, but to have the same vision and sharing that belief that is what TEXO is actually all about.
Have you found that as TEXO has grown and it dispensed with its past reputation, which was questionable many years ago, and it's been reborn and it's got a new vision, mission and values, do you find in the past people didn't really want to work for TEXO, but do you find that actually now I want to work with TEXO?
I think definitely. I mean, there was many reasons for how TEXO was perceived, and that was down to bad people, within the business. It was never the intent of TEXO. It was certainly never the intent of Hayden in the early days and Chris sort of soon thereafter. There was a massive belief, a family belief in TEXO, and which remains and is why where we are. And we just had to weed these people out and get to the sort of heart of the matter. That then spills over to the clients and it's certainly into the staff. And once you have them believing what the true intentions are, then you're building a company, and that's where we are today. Obviously, on top of that as well, you have like the foundation, and again, there's still across the board, people look at that in different ways. But what we've done there in a number of areas is a key to having that understanding of an ability to deliver the projects that we need to deliver, but also a heart within the company as well that just wants to give and not just seem to be taken. And you hope that comes down into the staff and they believe in that as well.
We'll touch on the foundation, because I know it's a true sort of passion of yours, and you're a true supporter of that. If we just go back to your division in Workspace Solutions, how has that changed over the last sort of 2 to 3 years?
So again, from a small team, and even anytime you speak to me, you know how proud I am of. We started this together.
What was the first order? How much? 400.
Where
is it? Where is it in the office? Yeah. It's not pinned up yet.
It's always around. However, from where we started and the team we started with, and the team that still remain is so important to me. And what we have done in that team and what we've delivered to then create the opportunity, not just for the growth, but for more people to join us and that's happened. And the business has found itself splitting into sort of three main areas. You know, we started in offshore accommodation, and then we started to dabble in modular. That's soon grown to be a huge part of the business. And then another opportunity arose for another team to expand our HVAC service offering as well, which has become very much a third larger part of the business. And they kind of complement each other well, and the teams mix and merge across all three sectors, and we've just grown to be a bigger, stronger family, and now we're working much more with a larger client base, but are, you know, really making the clients believe in what we can deliver, understanding their shortfalls where we can plug that gaps for them. So again, that comes with the growing pains. For myself, I like to just be with everyone, not in a micromanagement status, but just to know everyone that they're there, and it just becomes a longer day when you've got more people to get around. But it's working well, and you know, we've got a rosy future ahead of us.
But it's demonstrating that flat management system, where
yes, no doubt about it. It's very much a culture within TEXO that the door's open, and you know, if something goes wrong, let's just share it, you know, and if something can't be done, let's talk about it. And at the end of the day, you know, you've got to be in before them and then after them, because it's our responsibility, you know, in the positions that certainly I hold. It's, yeah, you've got a deliverable for the client and an expectation to the board, but the big expectation is on the people that they have given up previous jobs, etc., to come and work with us and for us, and you know, we have to make things right for them. You know, it's a big burden to carry, but it's an important one that they understand that we're here for them, because they make the rest happen.
One of the sort of defining moments from a project perspective, would you agree that what TEXO has managed to, even though it's been expanding, has still managed to hold on to the customer service part of it? The making sure that project meets expectation.
Big enough to handle, small enough to care. It's that unwritten motto which is there, which makes it important, and the belief in the customers that they can pick up the phone. They have their, you know, they have their project managers or project engineers to deal with, and if it gets to a stage that, you know, for me, they can talk to me anytime, but more importantly for me, it's me at the end of a week touching base with my customers and making sure they know we're there, and you begin to learn about, you know, as I said before, what are their shortfalls, what can we plug for them, what can we make better and easier. Every company's up against it, but some don't have the sort of fluid nature that we have, or the ability just to make a decision straight away and make it happen. So we do, and we can make that happen for them. So, you know, their priorities are our priority.
In the last couple of years, since sort of the growth period had sort of started, what's one of the most defining projects that has ticked all the boxes for you? And it's your sort of your, if you were to turn around and say that's my proudest moment of project deliverables, what would it be?
The kitchen we put in for Archie Foundation. You know,
I'm pleased you said that, because there are much bigger projects, but take us through that. What was that about?
The Russell Anderson Foundation had approached us and approached Archie Foundation with a huge issue that you wouldn't believe could exist, certainly in Aberdeen, and mind blowing. You know, 20 minutes from the office, and in the centre of town, with kids trying to grow up, not being fed, not understanding nutrition, not understanding the values in a lot of things, and struggling to learn because of that, and what the team up there had done, and what they'd done to to make English and maths and all sorts of things easier, and nutrition and that whole lot.
So this was at Kirkhill
Primary,
right?
Kincorth, was outstanding, and became involved in the project, and you just wanted to give, and we did, because it's not just about the money; it's about what we can do.
So take us through some of the basics of because it formed part of the sort of the TEXO Foundation, one of its projects that you help manage.
Yes.
And your team, if I'm and again I don't want to get teary because I know how teary you get with these things, is you took this challenge to heart and delivered what can only be described as a life-changing experience for the school for the next 5 to 10 years minimum.
It takes, you were with me in one of the early visits, and you stand there in utter disbelief, and you first, once you get over the disbelief, you kind of fall in love with the passion that the sort of teachers are putting in themselves, not in their working day, but after work, before work, when they go home, their own money, taking food out their own homes back in just to make it better because of a severe lack of support all around them. So you fall in love with that part, and then you meet the kids, and then you understand the volumes related, and then the differences it's making to the kids. So, they have limited expectations of what you're going to give them for that support, and you just want to give them more. So you walk away from that emotional, you walk away from it angry that it exists, and understanding that there's far bigger companies than us in the city. The sort of council related that itself, and going, why is this existing in our city? So yeah, and then you talk to the team back here, and they just want to do better. So from Malcolm going up there and designing it and doing all the colour graphics and getting everyone on board and everyone excited, to the estimators and the buyers, talking to supply chain and getting support from them and everyone, and you just go, it exists, kindness and human nature, and it still exists. And then the team that went up to deliver the job, and we didn't just do the job, we did it better and we did more. And even at handover we thought, what about the blinds, and let's get some blinds, and let's do this, and you wouldn't have stopped. And then you have to stop, because you've got to think there's more. Who else? What else? And if you could, you would just want to go round every area that's been deprived and help, and then even more so on handover when we went up, and obviously Chris was there as well, and the heartfelt, the biggest thing. The kids had handwritten a huge bundle of thank yous, and you sit and read them, and that was better than getting handed a paycheck, So big thing for us to understand, and we continue to do that. We continue to try and find any area that we can. So yeah, for me, that there's been other smaller ones. There's other ones we're working on just now, and it's a nicer thing to be a part of.
And the actual project was to basically redevelop a kitchen area. So it was tearing out the old kitchen and putting a whole new.
We pulled the whole area apart, and new kitchens. They were working off a sort of 2-stove ring cooker, and a small little fridge, and nothing else. Some old units from IKEA and a classroom table. So we pulled it apart, and we put down the everything to form and function, but with a bit of style. So they ended up with 2 cookers, 2 fridges. They ended up with extraction, anti-slip flooring, feature walls, a dishwasher, just that whole thing to make it better. So yeah, just to form part of that's been great. So and it's now what it's delivering for them. There's not just a handful of children. There's literally hundreds of children benefiting from that now and making it better.
When you look at your sort of career so far in within TEXO, where do you get your reward from? And I don't think it's the paychecks.
No. It's certainly not that, at all. We've all got mortgages to pay and bills to pay, but at the end of the day, that's just it. But it's just, the minute you treat it as a job, you don't belong here. It's a passion. Again, I mentioned earlier about the people we started with. That I had an opportunity. I presented it to some people I knew, and they left jobs that been in long term to come and work with me, and I've got a responsibility and accountability to that. And then obviously through issues in the business and COVID and that whole thing, the Smith family stand by us, and that's got to be applauded and rewarded. And when your mindset comes off of that caring, it's just a job, and you could be anywhere. So, and what we delivered, you laugh about the £484 order. We're now circa 20 million, and you're talking about things. We've got about 8 to 10 different buildings going through the workshop just now, from one end of the country to the next, and anything from a couple £100,000 to £2 million. And just when you see it, and the pride it comes when you're talking to customers or new customers and going, I haven't really heard what you do, but so what have you got going just now? And by the time you say that sentence, it's you sit back in the chair and go, we did this, we did this. So if you cannot take pride in that, then you're not going to take pride in anything.
Because that's a recent addition to your sort of portfolio is the Inverurie site, and that's grown over time.
Hugely. I mean, the business we had started, again, just trying to be mindful of cash size and obviously the longevity of work and the commitments we were making. Our initial modules where we're living like gypsies, building them, in the fabrication halls that the frames have been produced in, or even up here at West Hill, and in a bit of a tight squeeze. But some of the initial larger projects, we had to make that move, and we made a move to Inverurie as a short term, and then it just continued to grow, and the commitment had to be made, and we just had to be all in. It's on the scale of what we build and how we build it. You either do nothing or you've got to go all the way. But that obviously carries its risks. But again, an old adage, it's if you build it, they will come, and it just keeps coming. But it's important too, is we've got a large amount of repeat clients, and they're important, very important to us, and we've got to be there for them. So it's a real sort of chicken and egg on your workload, and you're forward to just be available for them, and know, because those calls come on a Sunday, or they come in the middle of the night, genuinely, from people who are just very, very busy and finally getting around to saying who's going to save the day, and they'll call TEXO Workspace Solutions.
Looking into the future, where are the growth areas in your opinion
for Workspace Solutions?
Yes.
So the growth is going to come. The growth is going to be the modular. The offshore provides a good service, but just by nature of the offshore business as well, it's very much refurbishment. There's no large, huge projects or new build rigs, etc. all being done abroad. So we provide a good, available, caring service at a level that will continue to exist where it's at, and there'll be areas of growth, and there'll be certain projects that spike that, and we're just quite happy for that to be along, be on call, and be that service. Modular, with the expansion and acceptance of modular builds really coming into play now, we form this kind of almost unique service. We don't create a fleet. We're not a rental company. We're not trying to challenge the sort of a Grecos or Portacabins of the world. They've got their own product and do what they do very, very well, and we just sort of come alongside on the specials.
Yeah.
I call it the mass production of one-offs, and I really believe that's what it is. So present your building, no matter what sector it's in, no matter what sort of size and scale within the capabilities, and we will modularize it, and we will provide your building. So we can do that, and we relish in that. and that's what makes it exciting, and it puts that mix in there, and it's the challenge, and it keeps us on our toes. So certainly from that side, and our HVAC side is very, very important too as well. And
because that's new, isn't it? Sorry to interrupt. That's a new, especially over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've had Nick, who's one of our founding members, started on the same day together, and Nick had the sort of HVAC support that we sort of provided for our modular service. It wasn't really a huge part of the business. It did exist. We then took over a smaller company from the service side, which was working away fine. And then, because of the TEXO name and created, there was a kind of excitement by a team of people who'd been together for a long time, who wanted to come aboard and take their experience and what have you into here to be able to operate the way we do, and basically have the sort of chains taken off and deliver the same service. So they had the same beliefs as we had, but it came at a big scale, and it was a big risk at the time. But with the work that we had on board and needed serviced, we went all in, and the team are on board now, and responsible for a much wider client base, are responsible for a lot more work abroad, and it opens up other areas for us, and other services get an opportunity. So that's a huge side, and that'll be along in the, not just the projects, but the sort of the maintenance and long-term sort of maintenance projects, and sort of 5-year maintenance deals, etc. So that'll see us much further out in front. So another key area. So yeah, the growth all going to come from sort of that sort of main two areas, and offshore just continuing to provide a great service.
So with the growth, where are the challenges? Where do you see the largest challenge over the next sort of, if we look into the 3 to 5 year?
It's people again. It's it's that continuation of having a great team, making that team larger, and then finding that sort of next layer, next level. But it's all the way from it's all the way from a sort of service engineer, a joiner, or a carpet fitter, to a project engineer, a design guy. They just simply, there's just a shortage of them. So again, the move now that we've created this team, now that we have this good people, we're now in a place for the apprenticeship schemes, because we have the people to train the people. We didn't have that before, and very much so. You don't want to take on apprentices as cheap labour and they're on the end of a brush for a year. That's an important one for me. I was fortunate enough, serving my time, to be taken right into the fold and had tools in my hand from the day I started till the day I ended. But I've seen over the years just how it becomes that sort of cheap labour route, and no one gets anything from it. So we've held off until now, and we've got a good age group amongst our whole team, and a good maturity, and we've got, more importantly, these people are keen to pass on their skills and take people in hand and learn. So that'll be a big difference for us. So we'll take huge pride in that, in that servicing. Obviously, our connections in with the schools is a strong one, and it's good to be able to talk to the sort of headmasters and the careers people whilst we're building these schools. So there's integration, and we're seen to be giving back and working it all out for them. The workshop itself offers great opportunities, and we're looking at sort of skill bases in there for people on a sort of semi-skilled basis or across the board basis as well, and we'll create sort of learning zones for them, and we'll develop that, and we'll see where that goes as well. So yeah, great opportunities, which is really us building on our future now.
Do you think we won't go into politics too much, but do you think the state of the sort of the political sphere at the moment has impacted the growth of some companies in terms of the uncertainty?
I think the uncertainty that there has or still exists just now is going to affect us kind of from now. We've had a huge growth, and it's kind of been making hay while the sun shines. and then building his teams, finding his people. But I think there's just a slight air just now of it's going to come down, and I think there's lots of larger projects on a larger scale that are just being withheld because that uncertainty does exist. And we just need to be mindful and aware of that. Possibly right now, maybe too large to affect us, but like everything else,
it filters down.
It's going to come down, and it's going to have an impact. So we just need to be mindful of that. But again, TEXO has got a great spread across all the divisions here, and even within our own. When you look at the mixed sectors that we're working and where we're working, when one's up, hopefully the others, or when one's down, hopefully the other one's up, and we can utilise our people, because again, it's a big weight on my shoulders to make sure that the people that we've attracted and have joined us are with us for a long time.
Over the last few years, there has been a consolidation of divisions and a stabilising of the diversity within the company. Is that still within the marketplace a unique aspect of TEXO that some still don't realise that it exists?
100%. I mean, you try your best. I mean, obviously, we have a great marketing company on board that pushes the brand out there, the awareness of the company, what everyone does to sell TEXO. And you could go and visit the same company every day, and still at the end of that week, not everyone in that company would know what you can do. It's difficult to get in front of people, and when you do, they want to talk about what they need. Trying to sell that sort of all sectors and make them aware is a difficult one, because time's limited, and there can be little interest. And then it happens that they need something out the blue, and you can go, but we do that, So it's a real difficult one, but we had a recent open day here for the drone side and inspection, and we had a huge number of visitors, and obviously interested in that aspect of the drone or the inspection piece of it, and all of a sudden they're going away because they had a huge issue trying to find a land camp. We do that. So, who knew? That guy didn't come thinking he was going to get that problem resolved when he came to see an open day and have a bacon roll. So, yeah, we just need to continue shouting out loud what we do, push that service, push that availability, and figure out how you tell everyone, if you want to pick up the phone and employ a new finance director, you can phone recruitment to go and get some engineering work done, or a huge fabrication, have someone hanging off a rope, and just basically have a modular office all at hand. Who else are you going to phone to do that?
Exactly. I still believe that it's a very unique aspect within the supply chain. Yeah.
And it doesn't always weave, It's obviously the divisions work with each other and cross over each other, and there's certain things there which you try to keep all in house. Everyone's going after to keep their people busy, to keep their workshops full, etc. And sometimes just time and capacity doesn't allow it. But in the main, when it works well, and it provides truly that one-stop shop that the customer's expecting. So you get the right customer on the right day, or you deliver the right combined project well. People soon realise, what TEXO is there for and what it delivers.
You touched on it more than briefly earlier in the conversation, the foundation. How instrumental is the foundation in working, or the relationship with clients?
You've got to believe in the foundation. We've come through difficult times. We're still in difficult times. We're still a very young company, but to have the foundation there, and the access to the foundation, I don't believe it exists really anywhere else. Yeah, there's much larger companies than that, but and it's a risk, but it's that belief. It shows that heartfelt, family orientated business, the big enough to deliver, small enough to care part of us. And if you want to shy away from it, then that's fine. But when you talk to your customers and you tell them about it, the understanding, they wish they worked for a company like that. And they always said, some of them come back to me and say, don't underestimate what you're doing here. Don't shy away from it. You should be proud of it, because we are proud of it. We wish we had the opportunity to do that, not just in financial terms, just in the whole terms of being a part of it. And I was talking to one of our main customers, closest sort of customers there, and one of their staff had an issue with their young child, and I'm not going to go into the details, but immediately your heart goes to it, and you just go, what can we do? And I don't need to pick up the phone or drop an email to Chris to say, can I do something? It would be a bigger catastrophe for him if he found out that I didn't do anything. And that's untold. And it doesn't have to be a large sum of money. It doesn't have to be, but it just to show that you care and you can take that time to be caring is fantastic. I love it,
Because the interesting thing that, as we've developed the TEXO Foundation, it's rather than a lot of organisations and companies support a singular activity, and the majority of them are very, very worthy causes. The TEXO way was to try and benefit as many organisations as possible, very community based, grassroots. So I think at the moment we're probably in excess of 30 different beneficiaries, from young children doing kickboxing to boxers coming out of Archie Foundation. Huge amount is. For me, that's the difference. It's not about cash. Sometimes it is, but the majority of the time it's about TEXO participation at the staff level, going in, fitting things out, doing the skill sets. And you mentioned some of them.
It's that, and all that's to be commended. And it's there's sort of corporate aspects of that, and then there's just the kind of closer, smaller, bite-sized chunks of things. It's just a general help and that feeling of what it can do, and our access, obviously, with the football club is a large one for us, but even the down to the boxing, but everything across the board. But if you take the sort of football one, the access and ability to pick up the phone or be a part of that, and having TEXO recognised, and then what it can do. I was, I think I spoke to you a few weeks back, sitting having breakfast one Sunday morning, and you get a small kid and comes in in his small Aberdeen football kit and just such a passion about football, and you're just listening away, and he's talking to his mum and dad, and he's opening his Panini cards, and they've signed this and signed that, and I had a signed shirt in my truck, and went out and came in, and you hand it to him, and what that does. You don't know who the family are or what it does, but you've just sent that kid off who's just made his day. But you haven't made his day; he's made my day, and he's just proud as punch of just being able to do that. Sort of take pride in driving about with the TEXO truck, and people recognise it, and it's always good to just the smallest of things, and what it does to put a smile on somebody's face is all part of the foundation, obviously, but all part of what TEXO really is, So yeah, bring it on.
So Richard, thank you ever so much for your time today. I hope to have another conversation in, let's say, 6 months' time, where we look at the sort of the latest achievements of Workspace Solutions.
I'm sure there'll be many.
Brilliant.
Good to talk.
Thanks very much, my friend. Thank
Cheers.
you.